Wayne Douglas Gretzky's hockey-loving dad, Walter Gretzky, the man who once said to his young son, focus not on where the puck is, but where it is going, joins us today, along with his friend, the venerable, witty sports writer Jim Taylor. The two will talk about the great ones, hockey lore and legends. They will also share with us some of their personal heartwarming and survival stories on and off the ice. Like Wayne, neither of them play an average game. Stay with us. It is my pleasure to be here with you today and with Canada's most famous hockey dad, Walter Gretzky, and with one of Canada's most famous best sports scribes, preeminent writer Jim Taylor. One of Taylor's favorite memories is the time he spent walking and reminiscing with Walter and Wayne about their days on the backyard rink. That was just before Wayne's final NHL game in New York City. I hope I got that right.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. I won't forget that. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be at a lot of places, but that was the thing.
How did you two meet? First time?
Well, I'll get this right, okay? For
Thank you very much.
Wayne was in town doing the Paul Anka show. He had to recite, the devil came down to the NHL. He was looking for a goal to steal. Fortunately, he had another line of work. And so anyway, I did a day in the life of and just followed him around. And and then wrote the thing, and it came out. And a few days later, my phone rang, and they said, hello, this is Wayne Gretzky. I said, sure it is, and hung up. Well, because Wayne's not phoning me. You know, I don't know Wayne.
You're a lowly sports writer.
And he phoned and said he'd liked the article, and he wondered if I'd like to do a book with his dad. Well, I never met Wally. So I phoned Wally, and Wally says, oh, yeah. He says, Wayne told me about that. He said, let's do it. And I said, no, we have to meet first. And he said, why? And I said, because you might be a son of a bitch. And there's this pause, and I said, or you might think I am. And if we don't like each other, it won't work. So I went down to Brantford to the tennis tournament. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
You sent Cheryl Teagues in to get me, which really sort of impressed the hell out of me. Well, she was there in her little tennis outfit, and there's a knock on the door, and Cheryl Teagues said her, she says, Mr. Gretzky would like to see you. Oh,
Cheryl Teagues said that.
Cheryl Teagues, yes. So I shook hands with her. You know, I held it as long as I could. But
yes.
And then Wally and
Come
I met.
into my motel room. Let's talk about this.
And then Wally and I met, and we became the four of us. My wife Deb and Phyllis and Wally and I became fast friends. You know.
Wally, what did you think about him when you first met him?
Uh-oh.
First thing I thought of, very honest. First thing. And what he said, he would do.
Mm-hmm. And he's
no more,
funny.
No less. I remember that. And then my wife Phyllis, she verified that. she was the final test.
Yeah. I bet.
Oh yeah.
And Phyllis liked him?
Yeah.
Because she didn't like many media people,
no,
I understand.
she wouldn't talk to anybody. She wouldn't. She wouldn't. Never.
Yeah.
She just would not.
Wayne had a great line he said about, because he called his family, Phyllis and Wally, and he said, when I was a kid, and he said people used to criticize me and say nasty things, and Wally would always say, forget it. He said, Phyllis made lists.
Oh, I bet she did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that book was called From Backyard Rink to the Stanley Cup?
From the backyard rink to the Stanley Cup. We were just saying 29 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And now that backyard rink in Ontario is a swimming pool? Is it true?
Swimming pool, yes, that's very true.
I know when you had the brain aneurysm, you had some trouble remembering the early years.
Yeah.
When Wayne was 3 and you were doing drills in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time vanished for me. Still to this day.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
But I read in your book, I think, that somebody asked Wayne once, about his God-given talent. And he said, my talent isn't God-given, it's Wally-given.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's a funny thing. Wayne still gets garbage bags full of letters from people who want to know what hockey school he attended so they can send their kids to that hockey school.
Sure, yeah.
And Wayne just laughs because he said, I never went to hockey school. He said, the four boys, he said, Wally never let us. He said, at the end of hockey season, he'd hide our skates and say, go do something else. I'll tell you when hockey season starts. You know, and so they went and played soccer. And you know, and I think Wally will verify this, there are some suggestion that hockey was Wayne's third best sport.
Baseball.
Baseball
Yeah,
and
he loved
lacrosse.
baseball.
And lacrosse.
Yeah.
Really, what did lacrosse teach Wayne about hockey, do you think?
Well, how to deke, because in lacrosse, it's not just a case of running up and down the floor. You got to learn to go like this, you know, to deke people or opponents out, and that helped them in the hockey, because in the hockey, he'd go like this, and then they'd go that way, and he'd go the opposite way. And he was very good at deking on the ice, as you know.
Yes,
He could
I
stick
do
handle
know.
past people.
Yeah,
It wasn't speed.
He deked better than I do.
yeah, I know. He just, you
It
know,
was finesse.
when we were doing the book, I talked to Yari Curry, and I said, you know, his line mate, I said, tell me about the first time you saw Wayne. And Yari's a Finn, and he didn't say anything, you know. And he thought for a minute. He said, well, he said, you know, came to practice, and he said, there's this pimply-faced little kid with the blonde hair, and he's 17 years old, and he said, I thought, what the hell is this? And that night they put me on his line, and I scored 4 goals, and I thought, this could be good.
This could be.
Good, and it worked out fairly well.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And Wayne was a scrawny kid, right?
Yeah.
A little kid, not.
Well,
But before I forget, I will have to tell you, talking about the hockey, his mother knew a year in advance he was going to retire. I found out the night before.
yes.
Really?
I said, how come you told your mother a year ago, and I find out tonight that you're retiring tomorrow? He said, well, Dad, I told Mom, because I didn't have to worry about her, she won't talk to the press. And I asked her not to, I made her promise that she wouldn't tell you. And if you didn't know, you didn't have to lie to anybody, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, that's
So
the
when
thing.
did you know?
I knew the same. I was watching a game with the Rangers, and John, his buddy, made the announcement at halftime. He said, you know, this Sunday game could be Wayne's last game.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh crap, you know. So I made arrangements to go to Ottawa to see his last game in Canada, and then Wayne said, "You coming to New York?" And I said, well, I think I am, but I said, I'm coming, but I don't know if I'm going to get a press box ticket because it's been too late. And he said, oh, didn't say anything. And I go to Madison Square Garden for the last game, and they give me my credentials, and he said, oh, Mr. Taylor, I'll take you up to your seat. And I know where I'm going. If I'm in the same area code, I'm going to be lucky because I'm a Canadian.
Right.
He walked me right down the middle, and there's a seat in the front row on the red line. And people are going, who the hell is that? You know? And so I said to Wayne afterwards, did you set that up? He said, well, I might have mentioned that you were coming. You know?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But I enjoyed it, Fanny, I enjoyed it so much because, as I've said, you know, the Gretzkys are the Gretzkys, and they always have been, and they didn't change. And, you know, and Phyllis was the smartest one of the whole group. You know, I'm sorry.
She was
But she was. But, you know, they were in Vancouver, at Pacific Coliseum, the Oilers were playing, and the Canucks go ahead 4-0. And they're up in the Molson booth, and the salesmen are just giving Phyllis razzing. And she was knitting, and she said, it's not over yet. And Wayne scored to make it 4-1, and she looked at me and she says, it is now. And the Oilers came back and won 5-4.
Wow. Wow.
She knew.
She knew.
It is.
Mothers
yeah.
know.
It's over. Yeah.
Well, again, you, a young boy raised on a cucumber farm,
Yeah.
spoke Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Did you ever have hockey dreams for you? I know you
Oh
played
yeah,
junior
yeah.
B.
I played minor hockey and junior B hockey. Never junior A, but junior B, and intermediate. But I never made it to pro. But I always wanted to play hockey. Yeah, and I learned to skate on the river where Wayne did, the backyard and on the river.
Yeah, there was. Oh, and Wayne always teases him, you know, because Wally got the measles when he was in junior B, and they all say, if it hadn't been for the measles, Dad, you would have
Right.
you would have been junior A in the
Because that
NHL.
was the time of tryout time for junior A, Like I couldn't go because I had the measles.
Of course, good excuse.
Damn
I
good.
didn't have no.
Yeah, there you could live with that.